Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Boss Talk with Empowerment Maven. It's your girl Dom checking in tonight. We have a special episode for our guest panelist, Miss Julie Duncan. She'll be checking in December, on December 7th, to the Women of Success panel. So I'm
Hey.
very excited to have her tonight. Miss Julie Duncan is the owner of Empowering Life Coaching and Consulting LLC. She is also a certified master life coach with a passion for helping individuals transform their lives through healing, resilience, and empowerment. So she definitely aligned with everything that I dream and stand for. She is a rising star of Transformation Academy. Miss Julie has touched countless lives through her coaching, speaking engagements, and writing. She is also a co-author of Les Brown, The Comeback, Turning Your Life Around with Les Brown and Friends, where she contributed the Power chapter, Coming Full Square. So I am so excited to have her here. I'm going to let her tell you just a little bit more about herself, and then we'll dig into tonight's episode.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here. And it's kind of a precursor, it sounds like, to what's coming in December, which is super exciting. And I'm so honored to be a part of that. So, yes, thank you for that wonderful intro. And, it seems kind of crazy. I embarked upon life coaching, my LLC, in July of last year. So it's only been a little over a year, but I've really been in the helping space industry my whole adult career because I have a master's in counseling psychology. So it was really just a real natural transition into entrepreneurship when I decided to join the life coaching space. And I haven't looked back, not a second. And I live in Virginia with my husband. I would say he supports all the crazy adventures that I've had, and I've had a few. Any listeners relate to that along the way. And he's always been super supportive, and I've always recognized that. We're empty nesters as of last year, hence why I started life coaching. I had to fill my time with something. And we have two wonderful humans that we're raising, and they're raising themselves now. And they're in another area going to college and kind of being out on their own now. And it helps to know that they're wonderful humans, but empty nesting is not for the faint of heart. And I think all women and even men need to fill their time with something. And this is my something.
Absolutely. You said a lot of things that I love. The most important thing was you talked about having a support system, and that's very important. That is my mission and my goal for you to, not only you, but all of us to have a support system and to find our tribe, to find our community, to find the people that will clap for us. And I absolutely love that you have that in your spouse. It's an amazing thing when they understand, what it takes to build a business, because sometimes that can be hard on a relationship.
Yes. Yep. I feel very grateful.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Again, I am so excited to have you. I couldn't wait for tonight. So again, thank you for joining us and being here tonight. So with that being said, since you're passionate about helping people turn their pain into purpose, what's the first mindset shift someone should make when they're stuck in pain?
What a great question. I can relate to this personally. And I really believe that reflecting upon the things that we have done to build resiliency is key to be able to make that shift. We oftentimes think that life pain points, failures are permanent, and they're anything but permanent. We can go through very tragic times in our life. I totally understand that. We can go through traumas in our life. We can have some very negative experiences, but those may not be our fault, but healing from them is our responsibility. And understanding that at the core and seeing and really recognizing that failure isn't fatal, number one. What have you done in the past to build resiliency, emotional resiliency, mental resiliency, and being able to tap into those? Because life can be challenging and things that happen can be very challenging. And we may think that's it, there's nothing more. But if we look back to the strengths and the things that we have been able to go through and gotten through pretty well, that can really help us to be able to have those pain points. And my new mantra is pain can be a pathway to success.
Oh, yes.
Pain can be a pathway. If we understand those experiences are not fatal, they're not the end, they can be very painful. We recognize those emotions, we're able to express those, we're able to get support to be able to work through whatever happened, but then find the purpose in that pain. Build on emotional resiliency, where you've been in the past, how you've gotten through tough situations, and then springboard that to how can that serve me in the future? What lessons have I learned? Where do I need to go from here? And I want to tell a quick story, which really hones in on what you just asked me, Lenice. I'm a student of Tony Robbins. I'm in a mastermind with him and Dean Graciaso. So anybody that follows any of the personal development coaches, he's one of the big gurus, right? You're saying yes, yes.
Yes.
Here's a story that Dean shares, and it just pinpoints what you just asked. So Dean went through a very traumatic divorce, and he's very open with it. And it was very hard, and he had children. And he went to Tony, who was a mentor at the time, and he was pouring his soul, his heart out. It was the toughest time of his life. And Tony listened, and then he said to him, okay, what do you want to become now? What do you want to become now? Yes. And that's really what it's all about, turning that into what's next? What can I do now?
I love that. What do you want to do now? That is a great question. Mm-hmm. Because now, what do you want to do?
Yes.
So, what do you want to do?
And I don't ever want to minimize anybody's trauma. There's big trauma, little traumas, along the way, and painful situations. Lord knows I've been through a lot of them myself. Some of them were self-imposed in my own brain with limiting beliefs. And I don't ever say that we should minimize that, help people work through that painful experience. But then, okay, who do you want to become now? What do you want to do now?
Absolutely. And that's a wonderful question to ask. I need to ask myself that sometimes. I think we all should. Mm-hmm. What do you want to become now? What do you want to do? Well, keeping with that same type of theme, since resilience is a common theme in your coaching, how can someone cultivate resilience when they're in the midst of a hardship?
Great question. So reflecting upon the past, how they've built how they've had emotional resiliency from painful situations in the past, how they got through that, what coping strategies did they use, staying connected to people, friends, family, supportive network. I say supportive because that's key. Sharing your struggles with people that will give you that emotional support. Practice self-care. This is so, so, so important. It's so easy for women, I'm speaking about women today, right? It's so easy for us to beat up on ourselves and blame ourselves and blame other situations. But would you talk to your boss that way? Would you talk to your children that way? Would you talk to somebody you really love that way? Probably not. So what can you do to practice self-care? And that has to do with our thoughts, for sure. Has to do with how we nurture ourselves, how we take care of our bodies.
Absolutely.
A walk in nature and some gratitude can go a long way, can be the antidote to turning things around. So find some compassion, find a way to connect to your resources, find a way to have some self-care. Mm-hmm. I love mindfulness. I'm a big fan of mindfulness, which is being in the here and now. Mm-hmm. Rather than everything that's ever happened to you in the past will happen to you in the future.
Yes.
Today.
Absolutely.
This moment. Right. Feel what you feel in this moment and bring some gratitude into that. It's so important to healing and reshaping things. Learn from experiences, reflect on hardships. Again, what coping strategies did you use in the past? That can help pull you through now. All those things are key.
Yes. Whew. Yeah, healing is a journey that I think a lot of people are afraid to take. Mm-hmm. So definitely you got to start with some self awareness, accountability. acknowledgement, and acceptance.
Yes.
That's why one of the things, I always speak about is being your authentic self, unapologetically,
Yes.
and that's when you find the people that are supposed to be in your life. When you are authentic to your true self, you magnetize and you draw the people in that should be around you versus being someone else and trying to be someone else and drawing in the people that you don't need in your life.
Love that. Love that.
So, can you share an example from your own life where you turned a setback into an opportunity for growth?
Of course I can. I have a lot of them. I'll give you 2 examples, though, that really connect. So when I was 17 years old, and I emphasize 17 because, I look at my kids when they were 17, they were still just so young, and I was 17, and the first was when I was senior in high school, and there was a knock on the door at 2:00 in the morning. That's never a good thing. And we opened up the door to a policeman standing there. He broke the news to my mother and I, she was a single mother, that my brother had been killed in a triple fatality car accident. It was devastating. My brother was an U.S. Air Forceman. He was home on leave. He was with his friends, and somebody passed him, and it just resulted in a triple fatality car accident. And the worst part, Lanice, was that I grew up in a very small community. We were all connected. His friends were my friends. I was friends with the siblings. And one of my best friend's brother was driving the car. He wasn't at fault, but he was driving the car. So you can imagine, 17 years old, all these 3 people were killed, all these siblings involved, small town. So then we had to go back to school. It happened December 29th, 1979. And then we all go back to school a couple, 5 days later. And there isn't a guidance counselor to meet you at the door like nowadays. It was, business as usual. Go to class, open up your books. We're going to learn. And I was just absolutely devastated. So that was number 1, my senior year. And then 3 months later, I was sitting in front of my guidance counselor, and I'm ready for my college application. I need you to give me an application. And he is like, you are not college material. Boom. That was it. You are not college material. I was like, I don't have a plan B. There's nothing else I'm going to do, but I'm going to join my friends because I'm going to stay in here. I'm hungry for more. And I wanted to get out, I had this devastating thing happen. I'm leaving. With or without you, I'm leaving. Absolutely. And so he told me I would be a really good Burger King manager because I worked at Burger King and I was a good employee, But here's the thing, Lanice. Here's the thing. He wasn't wrong on paper. I grew up with a lot of limiting beliefs. I had a big imposter syndrome, so lack of self-confidence, self-worth. So to adapt with all that, I became the funny life of the party girl.
Okay.
Right? Makes sense?
Yes.
So on paper, he wasn't wrong. I would never admit the number of days, I joke, that I missed my senior year. I was with my friends. We had the time of my life.
Sounds like a lot of us.
Right? So he wasn't wrong. But what he didn't know is I had a role model called Genevieve, who was my grandmother, who rode the train from rural America to Penn State Teachers College at the time to earn her 4-year degree, her undergraduate degree. And her mother had died at age 3. And she had navigated this with a rural farmer father who was raising 7 kids. Somehow she navigated this application, money, train. I don't even know. I wish I would have really recorded the story. But she was as Les Brown says, it's possible.
Okay.
She was it. And I was not going to hear no. And I was hungry, as Les Brown says, you have to be hungry for more. And I was hungry. And so I said, no, I'm not staying in this town. I want more. And I love my hometown. I don't mean to say it that way, but I needed more for lots of reasons. And so I got an application on my own and filled it out. And I did it very, very hard. It was one of the hardest things at that age I'd ever done. I was an underdog. I was not versed for academia whatsoever. I had to change my identity from party girl to study girl.
Yes.
Stay in the library with, I remember I joke, I had like all the colors of the markers and I had books. It was really, really hard, but we can do hard things. We can do hard things.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so proud of you. I mean, you are very welcome. That is a amazing story of resilience. And, people look at death as something to just get over, or, so someone told you can't do it, but you don't understand that the mindset that puts you into, and how that can, shape your life positively or negatively. And you chose the positive. That is amazing. So tell us about working with Les Brown, since you brought him up. How was working alongside him? What were some of the biggest lessons you learned from collaborating with him?
So I have followed Les for years. You know that saying, you had me at hello with the Tom Cruise movie?
Yes. Okay.
And I have to share this story. Oh my gosh. One time I saw him, I'd followed him for years. I was like in my 40s, quite a few years back. And he had caught my attention, was in the land of personal development, growth mindset. I was all about it for years. And it was, when all of a sudden we have phones, we have the internet, we have access to everything. And he was live streaming from a hospital bed. And he was telling his nurse, not now, I'll never forget, not now, honey, I'm talking to my people. And all these hearts are going up, Facebook live stream. Give me some hearts, everybody. And he was saying, no, you come back later. You can do my vitals later. And she's just like laughing, because what else can you do?
Exactly.
But Les is a 4-time cancer survivor. He was in there because of cancer. And I was just like, would I have that kind of perseverance? Could I ever have that kind of stamina, mindset, all the things that it would take, being 2, 3, 4-time cancer survivor? And he always jokes, God isn't done with me yet. I'm still here. I'm 79 years old. So when there was something on Facebook, and I said, I need to look at this, because I love writing. I've always been a writer. It just in my own personal life. Anytime that something painful happened, my brother died, my grandmother died, all kinds of situations, I would just write, and I would just randomly write. And I don't know where any of those pieces went at this point, but that was what I did. And I am definitely a writer. I identify as that. So it's like, I think I want to tell my story. It's time. So I embarked upon the journey with him, and I was able to do that. And what I've learned is that I think we all should write our story. The pain points, the overcoming points, because what it does is it gives us a framework for reflecting upon where we've been, how we've overcome the things we've overcome or not, and maybe we have more work to do, and that's okay, no judgment, and where we want to go, and what tools we can take with us along the journey. Those are the type of things that unfolded for me. And even the limited beliefs, I'm embarrassed to say, at this point, it's so much to transform when you've been through a lot of, hurts and pains and trauma along the way. There's always more work to do. And it really showed me my journey, but then, gosh, I might still have some things that, kind of push through. And that's okay. We're all human. It's a journey.
Yes.
So it was an amazing experience. I didn't get to meet Les himself, which hurts my heart at the time, because he had a book signing in July, but it was the global, I don't even know what it was. Global, what was it? The planes were all grounded.
Oh, wow.
So I couldn't go. But other authors from his book went. And I'm manifesting it'll happen again, because I think he's gonna have more than one book with collaborators. But the experience itself, and then I kind of tapped into a lot of trainings that he was doing. I did a 3-day speaker program with him. I'm not certified with him or anything, but he just offered this. And so there's been a lot of learning steps along the way, working with him as well. But really it was just telling my story and then receiving the book and having it in writing. It was like, it was a bucket list, really. But more importantly,
Yes.
I tell everybody you should write your story down.
Yes, I absolutely believe in telling your story. It is a part of healing. Like you said, you can see where you've come from.
Yeah.
You may have, we will always have more to go. That's just my belief.
Yes.
No matter,
Yeah.
there's, we have this image of perfection in our minds that doesn't really exist. It's just what we think perfection is.
Yep.
So I definitely, I'm right there with you, telling your story. As I was writing my book, the tears flowed, memories came back, but it wasn't so much as I was sad. It was just a release.
Yes. Yes.
Whew, just leave it right here. You're done with it. It's over. You've accomplished so much since these things have happened to you.
I love it.
Just let it go. So with that being said, how does emotional intelligence factor into transforming pain into purpose? And what practice steps should someone take to develop it?
I'm sorry, you cut out.
Oh, no.
Repeat that. I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. So how does emotional intelligence factor into transforming pain into purpose? And what practice steps can someone take to develop it?
Oh my gosh, I think this is such an important topic. I remember early on when I was doing my master's program, we talked a lot about E over I. Do you know what that might mean, E over I?
No.
We could be the most intelligent person in the room, but if we don't have emotional intelligence, emotional stability, emotional stamina, what happens?
We are sidetracked and doomed.
It affects our personal relationships. It affects our professional relationships. It affects so much of our being. If we don't have that emotional stamina, it is so, so important.
Absolutely.
And it's recognizing, it's understanding, it's managing those emotions effectively, what impact it has upon yourself, but also what impact, how you express your emotions, what impact does that have on others that you surround yourself with? Your spouse, your children. If you're always flying off the handle, or it's fight or flight, or it's panic, or it's anxiety, no judgment, because those are very real, raw nervous system reactions. But if that's what's happening all the time and that's a pattern, that is going to have a grave effect on your relationships, how you cope, how you feel about yourself. So it is just pivotal having that emotional intelligence. And I feel really blessed that early on in my own path and self-development, as well as my training, that E over I was taught, excuse me, was taught to me, because I think it's so super important.
Okay. That is amazing. You don't realize how many people are in the later stages of life and don't even know what that means.
Yeah. I would rather have a boatload of emotional intelligence and trade it off for some intellectual intelligence. I would. Because think about people that you're with. And again, not judging, but think about people you're with that have some of those maladaptive emotional responses all the time. How does that make you feel?
Whew, horrible. And it takes a toll on your health, I believe, as well.
Oh, 100%. A lot of cortisol with all that going on, which is very dangerous for us. Yes.
It is. And these are things, guys, that, it may sound like, oh, I'm good. There's nothing wrong, yada, yada. They're just talking. These are important things, These are very, very, very important things that you can suffer from and have adverse effects with. So definitely take it serious. Take your own opportunity to look these things up and do your research. But also, you guys can tune in on December 7th. You can join Miss Julie, myself, and 20 other women who have powerful stories and messages to deliver. And this will be one of the topics that we cover and we dig a little deeper into. So I hope you guys are planning on getting your ticket. Just a little segue, just to let you guys know where you can see more of Miss Juliet. Miss Juliet, so you can hear me clearly, Juliet. You can also check the comments. I have put her social media in there. So you can find her. Her website is scrolling across the screen now. Make sure you guys tap in and connect with her. So getting back into it, many people struggle with moving from surviving to thriving. What's the first step someone should take to break free from survival mode?
Okay, I love this topic because honestly, I can relate to it. I have been in survival mode before. Here's an example. My husband got hurt at work. He got put on workers' compensation. Your income is immediately cut when they do that. Health insurance is gone. You're home. You don't have a job. And I went to a 9-to-5, which I'd been an entrepreneur before in nutrition industry. And I really didn't want a 9-to-5, but it was a survival mode. Right. But I knew I needed to do it. And so I did it. And sometimes we need to get into that survival mode, and no judgment. I try not to judge that and say, okay, well, sometimes we need to do that. But the key is, do we stay stuck in that survival mode? And do we mentally stay stuck in that? Or are we tapping into, okay, this is a period of time that I need to do this, but I also want to be, have goals about how you can move more towards thriving in the long run. And that's, to me, it's growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And I don't think we pay enough attention to how that plays out in our life and how our thoughts get caught up in, there's nothing more, I have to do this, it's survival, versus what can I learn from this experience? How can I grow? What's next for me? How can I learn? What steps do I need to take? What little goals do I maybe need to take to move from this survival mode to maybe thrive? What does thriving mean to you? What does it mean? Define survival versus thriving, right? And what's it going to take for me to get to the next step? And sometimes it's little baby steps. How's a baby learn to walk? They fall down, get back up. They don't stop walking. Oh, that wasn't worth it. That's terrible.
Absolutely. Right? They have no choice.
Yeah.
They're not programmed yet.
Exactly. And our minds are programmed, right, Lenise?
Yes.
So what little steps can you take? Sometimes it's little baby steps. Maybe it's big steps. But moving from that requires mindset, growth mindset, setting goals, taking action one step at a time, and continuing that over and over and over. Consistency is key to getting out of that survival into thriving. And I feel like I survived, for quite a few years, raising kids, and I love my kids to the ends of the world. Anybody that knows me knows my poor kids. We're just like, we're gonna move in with you. Like, we just love our kids, but I wasn't really growing as a person. I was just going through the motions, and then along the way, I was really blessed to start thriving mentally, emotionally, growing. The inception of the internet, watching Les Brown, watching Tony Robbins. I'm like, okay, I like thriving much more than just going through the motions and not really feeling who I am and tapping into who I am into my soul. And that's, my soul came alive once I started to thrive. And it means different things to different people. Everybody's pattern and what they're looking for is different. But for me, it was growth, mindset, personal development. And now it's life coaching, it's masterminds, it's all the stuff that I'm doing, writing, speaking, because it fuels me.
Yes, I love that. And you said it fills you. So you do it from a different place.
Yes.
And I absolutely love that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think you kind of answered some of my next question, which is, you've worked with individuals who face trauma and adversity. What's your approach to helping them rebuild their lives and regain confidence?
This is a topic very near and dear to my heart. And I'll tell you several reasons. One is because, we all have our little T's and our big T's in our life. And I can relate to some big T's. And in addition to that, I had one of my clients, about a year ago, we worked together a year. She said to me on the first call, "I am broken." And my analogy was this: you take a glass, glass full of water, you drop it on a hardwood floor, and it shatters. Water goes all over, and there's no putting that glass back together. Right? It's shattered. We may feel like we're broken, but are you really that piece of glass? Absolutely not. So helping people understand their big T's, their little T's, how that has impacted their mind, their thinking process, and their nervous system. Absolutely. I'm very passionate about people understanding the impact on the nervous system, because we don't always understand that. That's that fight or flight, the panic, the anxiety, all the automatic reactions we have. Where are those pouring out of when we have a lot of trauma? PTSD, where's it poured out of, Lenise?
Past experiences, holding on to things. But yes, our bodies.
Yeah, our body. Correct. Our nervous system.
Yes.
So I was really blessed to have been a student of, and I'm not certified with him at all, but I'm a student of, I went through his whole program with a client through Alex Howard. He's out of the UK. He's got the best accent in all the land, and he's just a brainiac, and he has much emotional intelligence. And his book is It's Not Your Fault, and he has a reset program. And I want to talk about the key points of the reset program real quick, because he encapsulates everything you just talked about, Lenise, in terms of recognizing the patterns. So his framework for the reset program is recognize what's happening. And he says, if you can see it, you don't have to be it. And I love that. If you can see it, you don't have to be it.
You can change it. Yes.
And one of my sayings has always been, if you can name it, you can tame it. So understanding what's happening in your physical body and emotional body from the trauma, examine the patterns that are emerging. We all have patterns. What's the maladaptive response? How you typically respond in times of conflict, in times of stress, in times of anxiety, when you're maybe back in the moment. You're with family members that have sparked things for you, or whatever the situation.
Yes, the triggers.
What's your typical response? What's your pattern? Examine that. See it, own it, feel it, which is hard.
Yes.
And then he teaches the stop process. I love this. Stop. Because if you can see it, you don't have to be it. Rewire what's happening in your mind and your body if you stop yourself. And it's a whole process he takes people through. And then the last one, reset, the last one, T, is transform relationship with oneself. Switch off the nervous system and learn to cultivate a calm, healing state where you are emotionally regulated. You have adaptive patterns to stress, because we're all going to have stress, or especially when we had a lot of trauma, there's always going to be things that can impact you, but can you emotionally regulate yourself? And the client that I've worked with for the last year, she said, I am not the same person. I am not broken. And she has been able to go through his program and reset her nervous system, her fight or flight. She used to just flee, just go read a book for 2 hours, get away from it all. Should I do less and less and less of that right now?
Wow.
So it's super important that people understand how to reset their nervous system. They understand their patterns.
Yes.
They understand that it's not their fault, but they are responsible for healing it.
Yes.
Because otherwise we're spewing on everybody else and our trauma's coming out on other people, and we may not even be aware of that. And I hurts my heart to say that, because it can spill out onto the world around us, and we don't want that. We need it to stop with us, own it, feel it, and take control.
Ooh. That's a powerful message. I put it in the comments for you guys. I'm definitely going to take a look at it myself.
Yep.
Wow. It
All
and
over YouTube. He's all Alex Howard Reset Program. You could find him all over YouTube. I'm sure some of the other socials, but I always found him on YouTube. And he has a book. I have it here. It's Not Your Fault. And it's a powerful book. It talks all about the Reset Program.
I love that. I put that in the comments, guys. Alex Howard, his book, It's Not Your Fault, but you do have to take some ownership in healing. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the accountability, the ownership, the responsibility that you have, not only to others, but to yourself. You owe it to yourself to heal. That's the most important portion.
Yep. 100%.
So, oh my goodness. How do you encourage people to reframe their negative experiences into something that empowers them?
So being aware is the first step, right? Name it, tame it. I'm a fan of thinking about our thinking. We have 60,000 automatic thoughts a day. Yes. Do we really stop and think about our thinking? And when we're going through a lot of painful situations, maybe we've had some past trauma, big or small, it's very easy to go down what I call the rabbit hole.
Yes.
But this, then this, and this, and then this, and then I know this is going to happen. And then next thing you know, you are in the weeds, you are in the rabbit hole, and you have the power to stop that process. It's not easy, but it's necessary.
Yes, absolutely.
So reframing it, is this your truth? Is this really true? Or is it based upon a limiting belief? Is it based upon a past experience that you're owning that isn't valid anymore, that you don't need to own anymore? Like you said earlier, Lenise, identity is everything, and we can adapt a very negative identity of ourselves, a negative identity of the world, and that's our framework where we approach things.
Yes.
But if we can stop and be cognizant of how we think and how that's impacting our mind and our nervous system and our body, we have the power, neurolinguistics, we have the power to turn that off or turn that on.
Absolutely.
And I'm fascinated by neurolinguistic. I'm dangerous with that subject now because I've dabbled in that a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's some powerful stuff. But helping people understand and be empowered to stop the process. Look at your identity. Look at how you're seeing yourself. Dissecting, is that the truth? Or is that based upon the past and it no longer serves you? And typically that's how it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whew. Okay, guys. So she preached the word tonight and educated me in the process as well, which I always love. If you have a mentor that tells you they are the master coach out here, there's nothing else for them to learn, they know it all, then get another coach. Your coach should always be learning or have a mentor that they're reaching out to, looking up to, being educated, nurtured by. Mm-hmm. So I absolutely love that I learned some information tonight myself. I hope you guys learned something. And with that being said, Julie, tell them a little bit about what you'll be speaking about on the Women of Success panel and, how they can reach out to you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm very excited for December to expand upon this a little bit more. My topic is healing trauma, turning struggles into strength. And as I said earlier, helping people understand that, yes, and validate. Some people just need validated that this was painful and it was hard and maybe it was trauma. It was a big T, maybe it was a small T. Let's validate that for women. Validation is empowering. So help them to validate that, but then also look at how can this pain be my pathway to success? And that's really my goal when we speak in December, because we oftentimes stay too long in the pain and we don't see a way out. But if we see failure, we can fall forward through failure. We can fall forward through our mistakes. The pain can give us lessons that, Lenise, I would not be who I am today had it not been for some of the big T, the little T's along the way, and the pain along the way. It made me who
Yeah.
I am. Do I want to live through it again? Oh, no. But I am who I am. And it became my pathway to be able to be a successful life coach and have empathy and understanding for other people's situations. So when we can take that and understand this is not the end all be all. Yes, it's terrible. I will validate that with every bit of my soul. Sometimes people go through some awful stuff.
Yeah.
But let's find how that can be a pathway. Who do you want to become in spite of it? So that's really my focal point in December.
Yes. I'm so excited. I'm beyond excited to hear it myself. No, guys, I haven't heard it. I don't know. It'll be a surprise to me too. I'm looking forward to it because I'm so engrossed now. So I can't wait to see December's talk. And you guys can get tickets on my website, empowermentmaven.com. They are available now for you. We'll have some more speakers that will join the Boss Talk with Empowerment Maven, so you can meet them as well. I'm so honored to have Miss Julie Duncan joining us, not only on the panel, but just in sisterhood and in this community, creating safe places for us to be able to be ourselves and to heal and to have a support system. So with that being said, Miss Julie, do you have any closing words for our guests, our audience?
Gosh. I'm kind of, I don't know, my gosh. I just really want women to understand that they don't have to sit in the pain, that it really can move them. It can be the catalyst to move them to another place. And it takes work and it takes adopting a new identity. And I understand it's easy to sit in that pain and we get programmed and becomes our identity. But because we are it, we don't have to, because we see it, we don't have to be it.
Yes. Yes. Powerful words. Powerful words. Definitely go check her out. Again, you can follow her. Tell them where they can follow you at, Miss Julie.
So I'm on Facebook. I have a business page, Empowering Life Coaching, but I tend to do a lot of stuff out of my own page, Julie Duncan. If you click on Julie Duncan, you can see my coaching, all of my coaching stuff right there. I have a website, julieduncancoaching.com. I have a free ebook on my website. All they need to do is just go to the website, julieduncancoaching.com. On the landing page, they can enter their email. I love my ebook, new hot off the press, and it's related to limiting beliefs and changing those limiting beliefs. And I'm happy to talk to anybody who's struggling, anybody who just wants to reach out, anybody who just wants to talk about limiting beliefs. I'm here.
I love it. She's welcoming you guys with open arms. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it. She's very knowledgeable, and it is an honor to truly be able to have her join us. Listen, guys, I appreciate your time. Again, Miss Julie, I appreciate you being on this panel tonight, giving us the information and really giving actionable steps for them to take away and start thinking about this evening. So I hope you guys were paying attention. If you missed anything, definitely make sure that you click on her page, reach out, get that free ebook, okay? I know it's packed with information. I might go over there and grab it myself.
100%. It's free for the taking. I get so excited when I get an email, somebody's downloaded it. I'm like, yay, because I want to serve. I'm all about serving.
Yes. And I love a spirit of service. Yes. I love it. And you guys, she really means it. She is really about it. So like I said, I'm just ecstatic to have her here. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us tonight. See you guys on Thursday for a regular scheduled Boss Talk with Empowerment Maven. And until then, guys, you have a blessed evening and thanks for tuning in.